All right, welcome to the Secret Origins podcast. I'm Nic Skovgaard, and I have with me Hemal from KB Studios. He's like the SEO guy. He builds amazing websites, and he's been a great friend of mine. So, Hemal, welcome to the show, man. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me back, Nick. How are you?
I'm doing great. So I want to start talking about something that like a lot of business owners seem to struggle with, and it's this term that is tossed around a lot is content marketing. Will you kind of just start us off and give us just an overview definition of what is content marketing? What does that mean?
That it could mean different things for different people, but for content marketing for my company, it just means using words to sell your business. Using words, that's it.
Creating content around the business category, whatever you're doing, your products, your information, and that can be used in a bunch of different ways. And so content marketing for you a lot of times is SEO. It's creating blog articles, it's creating core page content that really drives the conversation forward. What else can content marketing be? How else have you seen content marketing used really effectively?
It could be a lot of different things, and that's where it can get overwhelming for businesses. Content marketing could be a blog post, it could be landing pages, it could also be a Pinterest board, it could be a Facebook page, it could be a Twitter account, it could be anything, because you're using content, which is words or also pictures or videos now, to promote your business or just your personal words. There's business owners who take their own selves on as personality, and they'll make their own account and talk within that sense. So I know you just mentioned a story too. You're being famous in your city too because people are recognizing you. So there's a lot of ways to use content to promote yourself and your business. And my suggestion is to try a few things, maybe 3 or 4 different things, maybe Facebook, maybe YouTube, your website, something else, LinkedIn, and see what works. Just throw a bunch of things out there and look at the data to see what's working for your end.
And I think you kind of pointed to this, right? Is the thing is that business owners tend to glaze over. And if you're a business owner listening to this and you're like, gosh, that sounds like a lot of work. That's so many things. I have a Facebook page, I have a Pinterest, I have a TikTok, I have a blog. I don't keep up with any of them. I guess the good news I kind of want to share is neither does anybody else. Unless you're a Fortune 500 brand, there's a very low chance that you're doing everything right all the time.
That's
the
right.
thing is, for content marketing, it's opened a lot of doors, right? Because one of the things is I'm not a really talented writer. I'm not someone who likes to sit down and write blog posts or like journalistic style articles or something that I struggle with because I just don't know how to get started. And then I'm not a great, I tend to write like I talk, which isn't always proper English.
Same
And
for me,
so
yeah.
if you kind of hit the rewind button, it's really challenging because, going to another platform, going to social media, making videos, starting a podcast used to take so much work. And so the big saving grace is if I partner with somebody like KB Studios and I start recording all this video content, and now I have all these questions and this information sort of about my business, I can give that to you. You can transcribe it, and then you can turn it into content that works really well for my website or works really well for my blog. But at the end of the day, you have to have content. You have to have content in order to be successful as a business owner. At Alter Ego, we've kind of adopted this like philosophy of like this digital first business, this just simple understanding that like you need to be thinking about how customers are going to interact with you on a digital platform first. One of my favorite examples when it comes to like SEO is if you don't have the words flower shop on your website anywhere, if you're a shoe store, you're never going to rank for flower shop. Google is never going to send you traffic for words that are not on your website. And so many businesses try to, throw up a really simple website that has almost no content on it, and then they can't figure out why they rank. Will you kind of speak to that in like how you build a strategy around a business to sort of help them grow by creating a lot more content?
Yeah, it's really not that hard in the sense too. A lot of our business, so I want to say at least more than half is local SEO. So we do help a lot of small businesses, mom and pop shops, larger small businesses that are regional but not nationwide. And so we'll help them with local SEO. It's not really that hard because you're create high quality content. The core pages, your homepage should exude the brand of the company. If you're an established company for 70 years, something like that, you should definitely talk about that. You should talk about your team, but then address your services or your products, whatever you're offering, and then use content marketing to talk about the different questions or issues that people have with the product or service that you're providing. So you're basically just creating content to address the fears or anything that's going on with your customer so that you can bring them on to the next stage so that they connect with you. That's
Yeah.
basically what content marketing should be.
I talk to business owners about this. One of the things I try and impress upon them is you don't have to write like Pulitzer Prize winning, award winning content that no one's ever thought of ever, digging deep into the story that no one's ever thought of. A lot of times the content that is the most important is what would be on an FAQ section. I mean, think about if you're training an employee who answers the phones and talks to all your customers and they're brand new and they're going to talk to every single customer you have. The first thing you're going to do is sit them down and give them some tactical knowledge of the most common questions that customers call and ask. Like, hey, do you take credit cards? Hey, are you open on Saturdays? Hey, do you sell XYZ brand? Hey, do you have this item in stock? If you go to your team or you look at the things that have come in and you figure out like, okay, what are the top 10 questions, the top 20 questions that you're getting asked all the time? One, you're probably getting asked those questions because the answer to them is not on your website.
It's not available.
And then two, that's a really good indication that that's what people actually care about. So you should be going to write content or create content on those questions. And if those are also questions that people are searching for in your industry category, it's a double win, right?
Yes.
So
absolutely, yeah.
Well, let me pull on that thread a little bit. How do you know where to start? When you sit down with a business owner for the first time, there's a million things. This is my problem. Like, I want to write about everything that has ever happened in marketing. I want to tell every one of the stories. And then as I do, I feel like I have to go back and explain things. I get overwhelmed and then I don't do anything. So how do you as a coach or as somebody who's helping with SEO, how do you help a business owner uncover what do they really need to actually talk about?
So there's a lot of things you can do, but if we refine our goal in like we're going to build their website through blogging, which is content marketing on their website. So let's say you, Nick, you own a roofing company and you do commercial roofing, you do residential roofing, and maybe you do roof repair services. And so what I would ask you, if you have a history with your website, data is very important. So if you have some history, you have a website already existing, it will show you that people are looking for certain things. It could be roofer in a certain city. It could be roofing repair. It could be, roofing repair from tornadoes or, hurricanes, whatever it is. There's certain words that are triggered that when you look back at the data, if you have it, they're very easy picks for writing content around that. So basically, again, roofing repair in Chicago. If those are keywords that are triggering a lot of impressions, but nobody's actually coming to your website, that just means that Google kind of trusts you. Then maybe you should get that kind of traffic, but you don't have any page. You don't have any content, like you said from the very beginning, that there's no words on your website that are talking about roofing repair. So why would Google give you that traffic? So why not create a blog post or improve your service pages with those keywords? Yeah, it's all a strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're SEO heavy, you talk a lot about creating content on a page, creating content for a blog. There are lots of other forms of ways that you can create content. As somebody who focuses on SEO, if I come to you as a customer and I have a repertoire of thousands of TikToks and some that have performed really well, or a ton of the things I've recorded on YouTube, all these YouTube videos, that's really powerful too, because now you don't have to start from scratch and write something from zero. You can take my own words, transcribe them, and turn them into other content. You can multi-purpose that. I was talking earlier, I really struggle with the writing component. That's not where my strong suit is. I can do this all day. And so if we can take this and turn it into content for a website, now all of a sudden it becomes really accessible. And so like the words of encouragement to maybe a business owner is, you can create the content that you want to create on the platform or through the methodology that you feel the most comfortable in.
That's right.
And then as long as you have a partner, somebody who can help you with this next part of the process, that content can easily be multi-purposed into helping you grow SEO, stuff like that. If somebody's not a strong writer, I mean, do you encourage them to use any specific social media platforms? Do you encourage them to make any content that is not web-based maybe, or website-based?
I keep thinking about YouTube. And as I've suggested a few times, mostly because if you imagine content, if you mentioned you can repurpose content in many ways, which is a great thing to do. Either blog content or YouTube content is usually the foundational thing. So imagine you told somebody who's overwhelmed, but you can suggest they make YouTube videos. What you can do from there is you can transcribe them for a blog post. You can turn those into vertical videos for TikToks. And even though they have to be cropped, you can portion of that video and put them on Instagram, and you can just repurpose it for so many things. You can take part of that footage and put it on in your email marketing, or even more importantly, you can say, hey, here's my public video, but in the email, you can say, here's behind the scenes videos you don't get in the public. Yeah. So you can do so many things with this. But sometimes making the video, if somebody's overwhelmed, making a video can be repurposed into many other things. So
Yeah.
maybe that's where they can start off with.
I had a great meeting with a potential customer about a week and a half ago, and we sat down. We were just talking about their business, and one of the things I found is, as we talked through, they were using a lot of this industry jargon. They were really struggling. They would use this language that normal people don't use because they know themselves, they know the business, they know the people in it so well that it's really hard for them to write. And so sometimes as a business owner, almost like that interview style, and it doesn't matter if it's on video, it doesn't matter if it's on TikTok or YouTube, it doesn't matter if it's just you sit down and turn on a recording service. Like we use a lot of like Otter, OTTR is a great one. There's so many platforms like that, but have somebody else ask you questions. And a lot of times I'll slow them down and I'll make them redo it. Tell me that again, like you're talking to a third grade classroom. Explain it to me like I'm stupid, because people want to sort of show their skill at this really high level, but oftentimes that's not what the search engine wants. And not only is it important to like think about regular SEO, so like for your website, but then SEO is not just limited to your website. I mean, there are optimization strategies for TikTok. There's optimization strategies for LinkedIn or for Pinterest, YouTube, and most of them come down to Google as sort of the sort of like benchmark for all of this. But Google is going to serve the answer that answers the searcher's question the best every single time. That's what Google wants to do. It is literally the only thing they care about. And so they want you to create really, really approachable, really easy to use content. And they want you to make it easy for somebody who doesn't understand it to understand it quickly.
That's right. Yeah, that's where people get caught up a lot. It's just, for example, for me, I don't really say I do SEO to people I introduce myself. Initially, I say I help people grow their business online. And that makes more sense than saying SEO. What is SEO?
Oh, what is content great marketing? Explanation.
Building, yeah.
Yeah, because if you talk about link reclamation or you talk about your domain authority to somebody who isn't in that world, they don't know what the hell you mean, and they also don't see the value in it. If you say, hey, can I help you grow your business online? They're like, yes, I want that. Yeah. And I think that is so important for business owners to realize is it's like you have to be smart enough to be able to take a step out of your own shoes. The quote that I love is, it's hard to read the label when you're inside the bottle. Yeah. When you're the product being sold, when you're the person who knows everything about marketing, it's really hard to put yourself in the shoes of somebody who's completely lost and doesn't know where to start. So when you're sort of talking to somebody, and I know both you and I do this, we build websites, we do SEO, we help people with content, we help people with strategy. But when you're talking about somebody who might be just getting started, they don't have a budget, they're not gonna end up working with one of the two of us, what would you tell them in a strategy standpoint of like where to start? What piece of advice would you give? How do you sort of focus them in? What's that sort of action step?
So are we talking specific to content marketing and blogging?
Not necessarily. In just creating more content or putting more things out there or trying some new things, where kind of would you guide them in that early step, especially with low budget clients?
Yeah, and if you're doing this by yourself, you have to test, right? So we talked about this. You need to test, and then you need to collect data. If you already have collected data, you have just saved yourself some time. If you have Google Search Console data, if you have Google Analytics, even on your Facebook and YouTube and Pinterest, if you've been doing things, there's been data there that you can review to see what has been engaging. If you don't have that data, sadly, you have to just throw a bunch of things on the wall and see if spaghetti sticks and move forward there. But you just got to take action. That's the main thing. And think of your last customer. You're a pizza shop and you want to promote your pizza. And you know that your customers might come in on Thursday night or something if you give the kids free or something, food or whatever it is. You know your customers better than anybody else. This is the thing that everybody knows. So you know your customers better. I know my customers the best. I know what will make them tick. I also know what makes them not want to work with me, right? And so sometimes for us, it could be just a random example. It could be the way that they, how do we pay you? How do we pay KB Studio? How do we pay Alter Ego? So I could create a blog post or a video around how easy it is for payment accepting or whatnot. So that small business owner should think from that perspective. If they have no money, start thinking, what does the customer want? What can I do, again, to make my customer happy or to make them avoid any of the issues? And in that sense, they can work with me. And what kind of content can that be? It could be anything. It could be a blog post. For example, I'll give you real life examples. We have pest control clients. And so we create specific blog articles for them because people want to know DIY stuff. So we'll take people who are doing DIY things and we'll turn them into actual customers by educating them in a blog post, but by at the end saying that you might want to have a professional come by and do this for us. So that's a free takeaway right there. And then we work on like a sports publication type of client. And so for that, media is very big. We got to show off the pictures, got to have it really high contrast and all that stuff. So video and YouTube and TikTok is very important. Blogging is not so much important for that client. So it really depends, but you know your customer. So start with that.
Can you give me an example of maybe, let's say 2 blog posts, and I'm almost looking for like the heading, 2 blog posts that you've created that are just like home runs, things that somebody else could sort of use as their inspiration of a starting point? Because I always find like when somebody tells me these, that they're easier than I would have thought of, like overcomplicate the tar out.
Okay. Are you okay with me telling you these stories and the information is a bit dated?
Sure.
I'll tell you 2 major home runs. One was for a barbershop client. So these are real life stories. We had a barbershop client and they wanted to increase their business. They have 6 locations in town and they wanted to compete with the competitors. What we found out, again, this is looking back at their Google Search Console data, but we were able to see that there were people looking for barbershop open on Sundays and a lot of the competitors were not open on Sundays. So what did we do? We made a landing page and 2 of their 6 shops are open on Sundays. So that gave them a lot of business. That was a home run for them. It was a dramatic increase in business because again, if your customers are not serving, if your competitors are not serving customers, you can just take them all you want that day. So that was a home run there. There was another one that was a really big home run for one of our chiropractor clients. It was the top 3 mattresses to sleep on if you have back pain. It was a jackpot home run as far as traffic increase, domain authority increase. But here's the takeaway there. I wouldn't recommend it for everyone because with the chiropractor, you care about people coming to your actual location. So you care about people maybe 10-mile vicinity of your location. We were getting traffic from all over the country and the chiropractor is in my city. And so all that traffic was fine for the domain equity and all that stuff. It's an asset for the business. But as far as getting more customers, it was more of like 5% uptick instead of like 500 or something uptick.
Yeah.
So those are those 3 top 3 type of articles. And one was about something open on a Sunday.
I want to just pull on this thread for a moment too, because I think this is so fun for ideation, right? Just idea generation for business owners. Right. If you're sitting out there going, what do I write? Anything that has that kind of listicle format, like the top 5, the top 2, the number
those
1,
will always
the thing
work,
that I did this, those are always so incredibly powerful because they're compelling and you kind of know what you're going to get before you get into the article. The top 3 best mattresses for back pain.
Well, you know what you're going to get.
Before you do anything, you know that you're going to get recommendations for a mattress. You know you're going to get more than one, and you know that this is either for you or not for you. Do you have back pain? Yes or no? Yes, this article is for you. Are you in the market for a mattress? Yes or no? Yes, this article is for you. I feel like that's where like that benefit is just in that headline. And I think that that's one of the tactics too. If you can generate sort of the headline ideation for a bunch of articles, so you come up with 50 headlines, just articles that you know your audience would want to read, start there, because if you can ideate a bunch of them, what you're going to find is they're going to stand out like sore thumbs. You're going to look at that list and go, that's the one people are going to want.
That's right.
In the case of your barbershop example, this is another one that is just blows my mind all the time. It is so amazing to me how many businesses don't offer the things that customers say they want. Right. And sometimes you just have to go ask your customers, like, what information do you have a hard time finding? What would you like to know more about? There's this great experiment when they talk about desired paths. And I always love this, like on college campuses, right? They build these sidewalks and then you see the little rabbit trails going all over campus of where people actually want to walk. And when you try and force people along a path that doesn't make sense to them or that they don't want to follow, they're going to create their own path. And what you're doing is you're literally leading them away from your website. Create the paths that people are looking for, solve their problems, and you're gonna get that traffic you want.
I like that analogy. That's great.
So I want to close it out. Do you have any sort of favorite thought, favorite quote, favorite strategy when it comes to content marketing or SEO? Something that is a tried and true principle for you, something that you believe in that you could share with us right now as sort of our final thought, closing stuff out.
Yeah, I think, and this is a good SEO drop here because it goes back to you talking about creating content and also addressing the customer's issues, and it goes to FAQs. I think any customer, again, anybody who's watching this, you guys should go back to your business, your small business website, and put in some FAQs on either different product pages or service pages you have. Not only does it help with addressing the customer's questions and whatnot, not only does it help with creating content so you can possibly rank for more content, but voice SEO. So you have your Alexas and your Siris and, hey, Alexa, give me the barbershop down the street. What are they feeding off of? It's, again, all this is proprietary information, but a big factor of it is that it's feeding off of the FAQs and schema inside a website. So set up the FAQs. If you're an advanced person, make sure the schema is proper. If you don't understand that, you can talk to Nick or me, but make sure your schema is properly set up so that when somebody like Alexa or Siri or whatever else is there, there's cars now. That's you press my car, you press a button and it tells you, hey, I want a coffee shop near me, and it'll find something. And so FAQs will help with that. So please go do that. And that's a method of creating content and talking to your customers. And now it's part of voice SEO too.
Beautiful. And I want to leave you with one last thought too. And this is just a simple sort of tactic. If this is something you struggle with and you don't have the budget to bring in somebody to sort of be the coach or the expert or the spirit guide or whatever you want to call it, have somebody from your team get out a list of questions and ask them. You don't realize how much you know about your subject matter until you're getting interviewed about it, because you can probably talk about the thing that you're passionate about all day and never run out of things to say. But it's really hard for you to sort of like trigger those questions. If you have somebody prompting you with those questions, you're always going to be able to deliver value, and that value can then be turned into content. So that would be my one random piece of advice.
That's a great piece of advice. I like it.
Beautiful. Well, Hemal, thank you so much for joining me. And if you're listening to this and you want your sort of homework takeaway assignment for today, it's go try something. Go do something. I promise you, no matter what level you're at, you could be doing more and you could be doing it better. Whatever excuse is in your way, just get rid of it and go try something and see if it works.
And if you do it, report back to us and let us know how it went.
Yeah, that would be great. Drop it in the comment and let us know if what worked for you. Thanks, Hemal.
Thanks, Nick. Take care.